You always want to mise en place all your tools, all your ingredients. I always keep a notebook when I'm cooking so I don't miss an ingredient. I write everything down, so I know I want to do my beautiful grass-fed short ribs, by the way. You can look at those. They're just gorgeous, right? I want to do that with a little bit of salt and pepper, and I'm going to pat them dry. We're going to go through that. And then I'm going to do a rough chop over all my vegetables. I'm going to need a set of tongs. I'm going to need a high heat oil. I'm going to need a salt and pepper. And I'm going to roast this with some mustard seeds. What else do we need? I think that's about it. I think we're ready to go. Oh, and some red wine. Get a little red wine. Or we could use stock if you choose not to use a red wine. So I have all my ingredients right here so we can get going. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our short rib. And we're going to get a little bit of salt on it. I'm going to move this piece from up top because it's covering the other ones. Just going to sprinkle, and as I'm sprinkling this, I'm kind of grinding it with my fingers. Get a little cracked pepper. That just sounds good, doesn't it? We're going to do the one side. So by patting it with a paper towel, it does two things. It takes a bit of that moisture out, so when it hits the oil, it's not going to, like spark back at you and burn you. But also, it kind of just pushes all of your salt and your pepper and any herbs that you're using like into the meat. All right, so let's get these guys. We're going to do the same. All right. I'm going to do this other side here because I accidentally put my salt and pepper on one of the on the short ribs. You're going to have a bone side, and then you're going to have the fat and the meat. And I put it on the bone side. You want to get it on the meat side of your short rib. There's your bone, and there's your meat. Get a little bit more on this guy too. We want all that flavor, and this salt is going to bring out the flavor of the meat. It's going to be beautiful. So all of these go in here. And then we're going to start with getting our mirepoix, if you will. I'm going to use 2 apples because there's not a lot here. Use a little bit of garlic, and I'm going to use 1 onion. Thank you so much. All right. So if we all remember how to do an onion, right? So this is going to be a coarse chop, but we want to leave that root on. So we just want to come over with our knife, hold it nice and secure, rocking motion, bring that knife down, right? I'm only going to use half of this. I'm going to go ahead and cut that little top off. I've got a little compost bin to put my bits and pieces in. I'm going to pull this paper off. And we're going to keep all of this. I'm known for going through compost bins and pulling pieces out for stock. Can't help it. Like I see something that needs to be used. And we're just going to do a rough chop here because this is kind of a country dish, kind of a bit of a peasant dish, and I love the idea of all these big pieces, and it's going to be more flavorful with the big pieces. So I'm just going to go ahead and just do 4 cuts. So if the root were facing me, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 cuts. And then the same thing, we're going to do 3 cuts actually going across, but again, bigger cuts. So notice how I'm keeping my knife in that rocking motion right to that root. Okay, then just make sure that these are all the way through. We've got these nice big cuts for the meat to lay on. Make sure all your paper bits are out. All right, so now our apple, I'm not going to worry about wiping my knife down because all these flavors are going to be in one pot. So the apple, I'm just going to take that outside so I don't get the seeds. Oop, got 1 seed, but that's okay. Get that little baby out just by giving it a little spin all the way around. All right, and the same thing here, but I want air is really important. Air circulation is really important when it comes to cooking, roasting anything, right? You want these to not sit on the bottom of the pan because we're now doing a roast. We're not just doing a sear. So we want some air circulation so the meat cooks all the way around evenly. So this is what we're doing and why some of my cuts are bigger, because I want my meat to lay on top of this. So there's our apple. we're going to cut one more apple, maybe take a half. All right, so again, with your knife, keeping a bear claw, having my knife hit the board. You see how this is my guide? 1, 2, 3 pieces, and that nice rocking motion to stay safe. All right, so let's get into some of the garlic. I'm just going to have 2 cloves here. And we're going to use a jar, smash that garlic, take it out of the paper. So now we're just going to give our garlic, again, a rough chop. I don't need a mince. So we're just going to do some bigger chunks here, just like that. Oop, you got missed. Same thing here. I'm going to come over my garlic. I'm going to go over it twice. There we go. All right. What else do we have here? We have an orange, and we have some ginger. Look at these flavors together. Like, I mean, one, it's aesthetically pleasing, but also just like all of these, flavors just so relate to fall for me. So this orange, I'm just going to cut in these big pieces, and I'm going to let my meat sit on that. I'm going to cut one more, and I'm going to squeeze this one into the mixture, and then I'm just going to let it sit. And then our ginger, remember earlier, got a sharper edge spoon, and we're just going to finish peeling this guy. And then I'm going to shave some of this into the meat. Makes a bit of a mess, but it does get the job done. I think we're ready to go. All right, so this is my mise en place, right? I've got everything I need. I've got my oil, I've got some more salt and pepper, I have all my ingredients. I have my tools. Here's my short rib. So we're gonna get our one pot going. All right, look at that, and I got the right one. Got the right burner. So you wanna let, whether you're using your cast iron or your one pot, and it doesn't matter which cast iron you're using, you're going to want to let it go for a good minute and get nice and hot. This is how we are going to get that reaction with those proteins and that fat. And then you're going to put the oil in. So we're going to let the pan get nice and hot for about a minute, and then we're going to put the oil in. Let the oil go for about 30 seconds or till you can feel it. You can really feel the temperature. Obviously, you're not going to touch the bottom of the pan, but you are definitely going to get your hand in there enough so you can feel that temp. All right. Feeling pretty good. Can you guys smell all the ingredients through the camera? You're going to love to do this at home. There's a few places, by the way, while we're waiting for this to get hot. It has to be hot. We're not going to take shortcuts. So there's a few places for you to get some cuts, and I want to go over that really quickly. You can get a hold of Primal Pastures. Paul Greaves, what a fantastic human being, a local farmer. He has a great CSA to organic and grass-fed meats. You can also go to Organic Roots. You can also order some of your meats through Eat Marketplace if you'd like to. And if you're on more of a budget, that's okay. There's different cuts and different types of meats, right? So with your short ribs, you can, what was the name of the market we were talking about before? What is it?
The butcher, Naughty Pig.
Well, Naughty Pig, total shout out to Naughty Pig. That's another fantastic place to get your meats. But, just hit a local grocery store and ask them for your bone-in short rib. Get the bone in because it's going to cook better. It's going to be more tender. It's going to be more flavorful with the bone in. So hopefully that helps you with a couple places to get your meat. And always, support local if you can. And you really want to stay away from meats that just, I like to call foods clean rather than organic, so you know what's in it. You know what the cow is eating. You know that the farmer has ethical treatment for not only the animals, but for the people that are working with them, right? And so right when you know your pan also is hot enough, when the oil starts to pull, when you put it in. So I know that that's going to be hot pretty fast. And it's usually about 30 seconds, but let's test it. Why not? There you go. That's the sound I'm looking for. Okay, so we almost have all 4 pieces seared. We got a really, really beautiful browning. And we see those. I'm sure there's the camera. Check that out. Beautiful. So I'm going to transfer these to a glass pan and let them sit for just a minute because I don't know if you see all the fond in this pan. So what we mean by fond are all those brown bits and pieces. You want that. You absolutely want that. We're going to roll our carrots in that. First, I'm going to pour out this oil. All right. Then we're going to come back, same pot, stove top. We're going to add some more avocado oil. Oh, we have all that fond in the bottom of the pan, so the onions are going to pull in that flavor. We're going to go ahead and throw our onions in here. Be careful when you're using a hot pan and you're throwing a vegetable in it. You have to remember all the water content from a lot of your veggies, and they're going to pop up and they're going to burn you. Okay, get all those in there. Get a little salt. Give them a nice little turn. So what I'm looking for, I'm going to turn my heat down just a smidge, is I just want these to start lightly browning. Why am I doing this? I am layering flavor. I'm not going to just take my meat raw and put it with a bunch of raw vegetables in a pan and cook it. You can do that, but you're missing out on a world of deliciousness. So layer your flavor, get these onions, right? Onions take a little bit longer. Then you're going to take your apples, you're going to throw your apples in. Woo! Got a little party going on here. And we're going to let this stuff brown just a little bit. I'm going to add a little bit more salt. All right, and now I'm going to shave. I'm going to shave my ginger in. If you have some turmeric root, you could shave your your turmeric root in here too. It has a great umami flavor. And what I mean by that is it's just that's another part of your taste buds, right? That umami. It's just a really earthy, kind of buttery, bacony taste when you take turmeric and you add it in to hot oil and meat. It's delicious. It's kind of crazy. So I'm going to mix this up really well because I want that ginger to coat everything. I'm going to turn my flame up a bit more. I'm going to kind of finish this off. I'm going to throw my garlic in right when these have a little bit of color. I'm going to make sure that while I'm working, everything's nice and clean. All right. Make sure my oven's good to go. Oh yeah, that's ready. All right, this is looking good. I'm gonna go ahead and throw my garlic in there. I'm putting my garlic in at the end too, because garlic cooks so fast and it'll burn and you'll have to just pull it out. Now, when I start to put the juice from the oranges in here, it's gonna start to deglaze. I know we have another camera over here. Are we seeing that, Stephen? See all those brown bits? Ah, beautiful. Love that. Okay, so give this another. Oh man, you could smell it. It's delicious. All right, so we're gonna squeeze and be careful again. The moist, that liquid. Gonna get that orange in there. One more. All right. Give it a quick spin. That way everything the orange gets incorporated on the apples, the onions, everything. And before our garlic goes too much longer, we're gonna go ahead and we're going to get our wine. It's a beautiful bottle of red wine. A little cab and a petite syrah mix is gonna be gorgeous with the red meat. So pouring it in slowly. You're going to want to put in about 2 inches. You can also finish it with stock. Then I'm going to go ahead and just turn this off. I'm going to go ahead and put these tangerines, well, not that one. I'm not sticking my finger down there. All right, stir that up a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and put these in here too. And then I'm going to put a little bit of whole mustard seed, probably about a teaspoon, because the mustard and apple flavor profile, once it cooks down, is gorgeous. Then we're going to nest these in here. All right? Okay, one of the things you need to remember with your meat, when we're first searing this, and I neglected to tell you, and it's super important. So right when you put your meat in the pan and it's starting to sear, don't touch it, don't move it, leave it alone. If it's sticking, it's because it's not ready, it's not brown, and it's not ready for you to turn it, right? That's so beautiful that your foods will just tell you that. Okay. We're going to get a little bit more liquid in here. If I need more liquid, I'm going to add some stock because I don't want too much of the red wine because your meat's going to pull in all that flavor, and I really want a balance. So right now, we're just going to get our lid on here, and we're going to put it in a 350-degree oven, and we're going to let it go for about an hour, maybe an hour and a half, but we'll take a temp in about 30 minutes. Here we go. Right into the middle of your oven. All right, gang, we're going to check our short ribs. It's been a few hours. They've been braising in that wine liquid. I'm so excited to see what's going on here. Oh, yeah, perfect. Beautiful. So we're going to go ahead and take the lid off. It's going to be super hot. Please be careful. We're going to turn the heat up to 500. We're going to push these back in. And we're just going to get that heat up to kind of finish the dish. So we'll be right back in about 5 or 10 minutes. Muppets. All right, let's take those short ribs out. And a nice, safe place to put them. This is going to be extremely hot. Oh, beautiful. So I did add an apple on top. I couldn't help myself. Like the braising of the sweetness from the apple is just intermingling with the meat and the orange and the onions. This is going to be absolutely delicious. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that sauce. That wine is doing its job. I'm so excited to see what all of you have come up with at home. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of get some liquid over these before I plate them up. So it'll be really fun to see your flavor profile. You don't have to do everything I did. You can incorporate some different flavors, but I'm excited to see what everyone's come up with. All right. Have a good week, and I'll see you soon.